Okay, hello. Welcome. Nice to see you. Hello. Welcome to the Zoom talk. Hello. Woo. Nice to see you. Maybe just reminding today the audio will be recorded again and probably uploaded on YouTube. But just my picture will be seen probably. No, that's it will be only uploaded then. Okay, but of course you're very welcome to unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can write in the chat, and I'll try to read the questions anonymously without without guarantee. Sometimes I fail. All right. So this is all there is. There isn't anything to get or to gain. There is no real realization of anything, because what apparently happens is just naturally complete. It's not, completion is not an additional aspect, so to speak. It's just how it naturally is in a way. It's blindly complete in a way, one could say, which basically means that there is no additional experience. There is no aware to completion. It's not an experience. Liberation or fulfillment, whatever you want to call it, is not an experience of awareness about completion. The good news are that this awareness, so to speak, is part of a dream, and the needs that seem to come out of that awareness are, of course, automatically part of a dream too. So those needs are illusory, so to speak. The need to arrive as a person, the need to become a fulfilled person, is part of the illusion, namely that there is a separate entity, a separate something in the first place. There just isn't. There isn't anything that's separate from anything else. There is no me separate from the room I'm or you are sitting in. There is no awareness which is separate from the appearance. There is no consciousness which is separate from the space, or whatever you would describe your experience. Everything, so to speak, is undividedly itself, without any real movement, without any real becoming or failing, without any real development. There is no development from wholeness to a better wholeness, or from wholeness to more wholeness, or from less fulfillment to more fulfillment. All those ideas, so to speak, would take part of the dream, or would be part of the dream. And as I said, the dream is, I am someone who is now here, which is separate from everything else, only being on a path towards oneness. The apparent dilemma for the person is, one could say, that it only consists within that experience. So being a seeker, so to speak, and being a person apparently is the same thing. You can't separate the person from seeking. The person will never become someone who has arrived. The person will never become anything that goes beyond being a person. That's the apparent dilemma of the person, so to speak, to just be able to be itself. There is no beyond. In that sense, which is a story, of course, liberation can be regarded in the story as kind of a death. It's the death of an illusion. In the end, it's the end or the death of something which was never present. So it's not really logical, one could say. But in the story, one could say it's a death. It's rather a death than any form of realization. Because in death, nothing becomes realized. It's not that another new aspect comes in. it's not that another level of reality comes in. It's just the end of that overlay. It's just the end of the overlay that there is a separate person. What is, so to speak, is already itself. There is no realization at all taking place. There isn't anything happening which will add anything to what happens. So wholeness, the natural reality, whatever you want to call it, is exactly this. It's exactly what apparently happens. There is no division. There is no separate reality. There is no hidden, absolute, mystical, mysterious God energy or something which is separate from looking to a screen and being you and being me. That just is, it's this. There isn't anything else than what apparently happens. In that sense, this is not a teaching. This can't be taught. What apparently happens can't be taught. It's impossible. It can't be learned, so to speak. Impossible. Nice haircut, someone wrote to me. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I don't have a great possibility of variations anymore, so, but I'm quite happy with it. Question. Hi, Andreas. Okay, the me isn't real, but how does it get its content for its dreaming? What stimulates it into dreaming? I'm sorry, I don't get the question. What do you mean? What do you mean? Maybe because it's not really that the me is dreaming. The me is the dream, so to speak. It's not that the me is in a dreaming state, so to speak, and is theoretically be able to wake up from it or some things like that. Me is the dream. And all that comes out of it, to only experience the world and somehow invent stories. If you speak to me, you have to turn on your microphone. Martin, are you speaking to me? I try to. You just on Zoom, you can click.
Oh yeah. Now you can hear? Yeah.
Yes, now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Hello, Andreas and everybody else. A conclusion could be give up searching.
Yes.
But
yes, exactly.
It happens.
What do you mean it happens?
When searching happens.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes. It's a nice conclusion, but it can't be done. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The person can't stop seeking consciously.
No.
No.
But on the other hand, as I feel it, the person here is in great doubt if it exists. I hear you saying it doesn't exist,
Yes.
and it resonates, but
Yeah.
crazy thing.
Mm. Yeah, you can't really, the thing is one can't really go there. One can't really make a conclusion from what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and yeah. So it's hard to say what it's really going on now, because in the end there isn't anyone real. So there is a resonance, but there are some buts around, and
yeah. Also, that is not
exactly.
what I can take.
Exactly.
Not, yeah, yeah.
Because it's what apparent, that's wholeness as that. That's what apparently happens.
Yeah.
And it's ungraspable. You can't grasp it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it stays fantastic to hear it again and again and again, although I have heard it millions of times, and it's crazy.
I mean, no one ever really hears it, you know, it's just what apparently happens. Of course, the information that was believed, that's empty.
Yeah.
Those sentences are empty, of course. So,
Yeah. Well, thanks again.
it's
Thanks
great,
again.
great that you joined. Cool. Okay, can me speculate its disappearance? Sometimes I feel so close, so clear. Is it all mind play? What was it like with you right before Andreas disappeared? Can me speculates its disappearance? I mean, not really. I mean, it may think around it. It may make assumptions. It tries to feel what it might feel like, but it can't really know it, because all it imagines and all it thinks about, it has already set itself as the first condition. So in a way, one could say absence, or the death of the me, is the only thing which cannot be imagined by the person, so to speak. The person can imagine all kinds of things, a universe, pink elephants, golden castles in the clouds, hell, suffering. It can imagine anything, but it can't imagine its own absence, because of course it can't go there, even in an imaginary sense, or it would imagine something. But so maybe, I don't know if I got it right, what you meant with speculate. And of course, for the person, this whole issue, life and death, are of course very important issues. I mean, usually it's life. Life is much more important, because that's where fulfillment needs to take place. But of course, this issue about life and death is a very existential issue for the person. That is its issue in the end, life and death. So there's a lot of inquiry and philosophy around that, and theology. It's the person's main question, or what the person might regard as the deepest question: life and death, the answer to my life, so to speak, and somehow automatically find a key to death, what death is, or to escape from death, and or to make life fulfilled, and all those things. Of course, they all dance around this idea: I am alive now, and there is this potential unknown thing waiting for me, which is called death. So there can be a lot of activity, thinking activity about this question, trying to approach it and come into peace with it and all that stuff. What was it like with you right before Andreas disappeared? Well, I don't. Well, shortly before I died, I was this rather easy guy, you know, and not. I don't really know. No, I was. There was the impression that this issue more and more was leaving me. I was less and less in my story. I was just less and less bothered with this whole stuff. That was kind of what's happening in my story for me. The occupation with this issue, the the intellectual occupation, or for me with this issue, not non-duality as such, with me and my happiness, me and my fulfillment, was just somehow fading out together with me. Apparently, but there are no rules, of course. Okay, question. Jim Newman says that the individual will always think that it understands what is means, and that it's what is appearing right now, and that's not what is. Yeah. What is what is, and what isn't. Could you say something about that, please? Well, yeah, of course. I mean, for the person, what is means that which I'm aware of now. That's what the person would regard as what is. Me and the moment. Me and what I experience right now. And that is really existing. That is what is. And that's what the person would regard as what is. Yeah. And there's absolutely no connection to what we speak about here, because there isn't any real what is, in a way that there is something which really is, some circumstance, some reality which is a thing, which is manifest, which has substance, so to speak. And somehow the person naturally will always come back to something that is potentially being able to experience, even wholeness, or somehow known or understood. And immediately the person hears what is, or wholeness, or no thing, it immediately has some kind of impression of this being the real truth, or of this being something. And this something is always regarded as actually as separate from what happens. It's always regarded as separate from sitting in front of a screen and listening to me talking. Yes. So what is sitting in front of a screen, but at the same time, it's no thing. Sitting in front of a screen isn't something that happens. It's neither relative nor absolute. It's no thing. While it happens, it's no thing, so to speak. And no thing, even when I say, the person immediately assumes it to be, actually it's no thing. It immediately turns it, sitting in a room is no thing. Saying it's not sitting in a room anymore because it's no thing. No. So, of course. It's completely unknowable. What really is absolutely unknowable. And even this statement, but there is something, in the end can't be confirmed, because there isn't anything which could confirm it. It's no thing. which is real and unreal. That's the thing. The moment you say, that's what this sentence comes about, what is and isn't, or real and unreal, or it's beyond existence and non-existence. Because the moment you say, ah, yeah, but no thing is, you immediately turn it into something which is. So there just isn't anyone who could go there intellectually, emotionally, on an experiential level, on an energetical level. There just isn't anyone at all who could approach what is and isn't in any form. Impossible.
Hello.
Who's speaking?
Can you hear me clear?
It's not really loud, but maybe I can turn up the volume. Okay, try it.
So, my question's around the idea of there seems to be so many contradictions in everything, whether it's philosophy, spirituality, and even some science. Is that kind of like an indicator of like the me is never satisfied? Is, for example, like in fitness and diet, there's so many contradictions and there's so many gurus and experts and they all contradict each other. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I know,
okay,
I almost got crazy over that.
yeah, it's been driving me crazy the past few years. So I just let go of all of it and just focus on what feels right for me. So is that in all these contradictions with everyone's political philosophies, whatever it is, whatever, everyone's right.com. What is that? Is that the me never satisfied? So there's a bunch of parrot me's running around.
I mean, in the end, there is no real answer to that, of course. Where does it come from? Why is it like that? But one story could be that the person only regards parts. It lives right away in an artificial reality, only regarding parts which aren't separate in the first place. And they think that they can inquire into something called the right diet, which is kind of already living in a complete dream. Namely, that there is a person and that there is a real circumstance, the right diet, which they can inquire and come with one answer, which is the truth. And that's just within a dream right away.
Yeah, it's the same with religion and philosophy, politics, everything.
In the end, with every inquiry that comes from a personal standpoint. And funnily, one could say it all seems to work within a certain realm. It seems to work for a while, or it seems to be true for a certain percentage of people, or whatever. But then at one point, it just doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, all of that just is what apparently happens, and there isn't a real answer why it is like that, but that's what seems to be going on. Yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Thank you. But that's the thing, the person just lives in the impression of being able to cut out parts, because it believes itself to live in this divided reality, and then it tries to find little truths in the little parts, hoping that at one point it can set it together to a bigger truth and a more bigger truth. Stuff like that. Never really works because there are no parts in the first place. There isn't something going on made out of a lot of small things. There aren't things. There aren't small things, and they don't make one big thing. That's what religion likes to do. Well, we notice that we don't understand all the little parts, so we just say it's one part, it's God. There's one big thing, and we believe in that, and then we are fine. But in the end, what is no thing. It's not something. There aren't things. Question, is overthinking a me trait? Well, at least it's one method, one could say. It's a symptom. It's one realm, so to speak, where the person assumes fulfillment in understanding. I mean, there are others say turn away your attention from thinking and go in feeling. So, but thinking, analyzing, trying to find an answer to life seems to be a symptom of separation. Yeah. Hoping that there is an answer. Of course, hoping that this answer provides fulfillment, provides a fulfilled experience. But when I understood, I'll be fine. And usually it thinks that it has to understood many things. When I understood how to make enough money, when I understand how to lead a happy relationship, when I understand that's the hope. But all those things, so to speak, cannot be understood really. They are what apparently happens, but they aren't things which can be understood.
So back to this contradictions.
Yes. No, I'm not laughing at you. I already read something in the chat. I'm sorry.
No, I'm tracking. It feels like everything's a contradiction, and that's where me gets stuck. So I try to be this person over here, let's say a spiritual person over here, you know, whatever, my clothes are 100% organic. And then on the other side, I'm over here buying a French fries from McDonald's. And then there's me bounces back and forth between these contradictions. It's like, oh, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So,
Exactly.
but you're saying there's no reason for that. Why? It's just
There is no what?
Reason.
Yes. Yes. They don't contradict each other at all. There is no real contradiction going on.
So it's the me that's perceiving the contradiction.
Oh, of course. Oh, only. In a way, the me is the experience of contradiction. Because it right away, because it experiences itself to be something while being no thing. It lives in constant contradiction, and in a way one could say energetically, and in a way it sees that reflected anywhere. It reflects itself in anything anyway. So there seem to be contradictions all the time, everywhere.
Yeah, okay, that was helpful. Yeah, the reflections, absolutely.
It's
Thanks.
just seeing itself anyway, everywhere, so to speak. Because it's seeing everywhere objects and things. That's in a way seeing itself. I'm aware of a tree. Stuff like that. So there seem to be contradictions out in the world. Yeah. Because nothing really fits its experience. Or nothing really is as it seems to be for the person. Okay, there was some interesting information in the chat. But a whole food plant-based vegan diet is the only diet proven to reverse or stop heart disease in its tracks. Yeah. So that's proven that it's reverse or stops heart disease in its tracks. Yeah. I think there are a lot of other reasons to die from, but at least one thing you can be sure about. If you have the right diet, you won't die from a heart attack. That's good. Maybe you have a car accident on the way to the organic shop or something. But yes. Okay. It's apparently proven. Okay. And nothing can be done to stop it. Yes, of course, nothing can be done to stop anything because there isn't anyone who could do so. On the one hand, there is no real happening going on. And of course, there isn't anyone who could stop anything. Oh, of course. Yeah. Nothing has to be stopped, of course. Because it's all whole and complete already.
Hi, Andreas. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. It seems to me that they always, yeah, the subject of awareness is such a big thing. Like I'm aware that I'm eating good food. I'm aware that I'm eating, bad food. But there is actually, at the end, only a body that functions. So the body knows like what to eat, where to go, what to do. So this is it. It's not about like, that's what you mean. There is no awareness.
Yes, there isn't. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But there seems to be like, I mean, within the story of the me, okay, like, I don't know what to say if there is no awareness and there is no seeing, but there is some kind of recording. I call it recording going on. Like there is, like when in the world I see things, I hear things, I remember things. If I wouldn't remember, I wouldn't know how to function. Like how to make things better. So
Yeah.
it feels like there's some kind of organism that like record whatever,
Yeah.
what it sees, what it hears, what is happening, and that the memory in a way helps to function. For example, when you want to make things better, or
Yeah.
so it's the end. It's just an organism, a body that functions with a character in it that just have some characteristics, and there is no awareness to it. There is nothing. It's just really happening.
Yeah.
With no awareness.
Yeah, that's what apparently happens. Yeah. Thinking, walking around,
Yeah.
noticing some things, or not really, of course, registering, noticing, not noticing, doing what.
Absolutely no one inside it is aware of anything of it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's the most difficult to understand because you can't understand that.
No, it's impossible because the one who wants to understand it is the
right.
one that it's aware. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Trying to understand something which it actually isn't even aware of.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. The person is constantly aware, believes itself to be aware of things which don't even exist as such, because there are no things. So even the assumption, yeah, but I can be aware of, is a dream, because those things that the person, as I said, believes to be aware of, they aren't things. It cuts out parts. Oh, there's a room, which isn't a part at all.
And you make something from it, yeah.
Exactly, it turns it into something and then tries to do something with it, understand it or feel it or embrace it or whatever, I don't know, or cut it down or whatever.
So like listening to the news is just listening to the news, but there is understanding. There's logically understanding what I'm hearing when I'm listening to the news. I'm not aware of it, they're just listening and understanding.
It's just listening, and maybe there's understanding. A musician probably might understand the music, know the tones or the technique, but that would just be what apparently happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening to the music, liking it, not liking it, listening to music and thinking about the shopping tomorrow, whatever. It just is what apparently happens.
Would you say like there is only information being processed? Information, like when you listen to the news, there's just only information being processed. It's not like somebody aware of it. There's only processing.
It sounds a bit intellectual. You can't really intellectualize it, but yeah, of course, the brain does its job.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because the brain does its job with all the functions, but there's nobody doing it. There's no me doing anything or aware of it or thinking like I'm doing it. I'm like, no.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There isn't anything which experiences itself as separate from it. Listening to real music and assuming that or hoping that it serves me, that I listen to the music.
Right.
Well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, I can put my video today.
Oh yeah, hello. No, it's as you want.
Okay. Isn't it that the brain also is a story? It doesn't exist.
Exactly. That's what I meant. That's what apparently happens. You can't, this message isn't trying to intellectualize what happens. In that sense, it's a story. The brain does
so
that.
All what you were saying, or Sophie, I think, no, was saying is about the functioning of the brain and all that. It's just a story. It's not real.
Oh yeah, it's what apparently happens.
Okay.
Just functioning as a human. Yeah.
Okay.
Which sounds a bit dead and dry, you know. It's whole, it's nothing, it's aliveness, it's wholeness as that. But in the end, it's just functioning. Thinking, understanding, listening to music. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, this is not an explanation. That's the thing. That's what I mean with the functioning in the body and the brain. It's what apparently happens, but it's unknowable.
Yes, I thought so.
Yeah. The person would love to have this as an answer. Ah, yeah, well, okay, I get it now. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because then again, it's like saying that the brain exists.
Exactly. Then it's again saying that there is a real reality which is in a certain way. Namely, the brain exists and does everything or something. Yeah. Exactly.
Then we would go back to the question, when then if the brain exists, then the body exists, and then everything else.
Exactly. The moment you have one thing, whatever that one thing is, you have the whole existence. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, question. And in wholeness, there is suffering, hardest part to accept. Yeah, not really acceptable. The thing is, suffering doesn't need to be accepted. It's anyway. It happens anyway, despite of anyone accepting it or not. That's a bit mean from suffering, that it doesn't care. But it doesn't recognize someone who suffers from it. That's why it's a bit rude. Suffering, seen from the person, suffering seems to be rude. But yeah, there isn't anyone. Okay, comment. Absence cannot stop or start. Empty appearance. I'm not sure if I quite get it, but yes. I mean, nothing can be done about anything, and nothing is really happening anyway. So there is no start and there is no end of anything. There is neither a start of a real happening, nor is there a start of an illusion, nor is there a real end of those things. I mean, the emphasis of the person to end suffering, to end the dream, to end the seeking, to end, I mean, that's also of course, trying to work within a reality that seems to be going on for the person, but isn't going on at all. Of course, nothing can be ended. Nothing needs to end. Nothing has started. Okay, Andrew was writing, but it was in like that. I don't know how they're called in English. I'm a dude who plays a dude who thinks he's another dude. That sounds like acting, yeah. Not recognizing me doesn't change the fact that me is having a very real experience and is really suffering. Yes, exactly. There isn't anything that can change that. The moment there is a person, this person will assume that that itself is real, that its experience is real, and that its suffering is real. And there isn't anything which can make that go away. There isn't anything which will answer that. There isn't anything out there saying, don't suffer. And even if there would be something like that, the person wouldn't hear it. The person would suffer from that it's suffering, but it's not supposed to. No, there is no answer. There is no answer to what apparently happens. And if the impression to be someone is what apparently happens, there is no answer to that.
Hello, Andreas.
Hello.
It is not God who creates the world. It's me creates the world.
Yes, no, absolutely, yeah. Well, it doesn't even create the world, it creates the illusion of a world.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah. As long as this seeking is going on, this sense of separation is every time gets so confirmed and intensified. This sense of this separation, in a way.
At least confirmed, yeah. It confirms itself constantly. In a way, that's the only thing that it does, not consciously, but yes, of course.
Mm, yes.
Yeah. It experiences suffering, then it's saying, I'm suffering. And saying by I'm suffering, it feels as if it's much more suffering than before. And there seems to be more suffering than, there's even more suffering. Yeah.
This is so crazy. I mean, this me is kind of made of something, which is nothing, and this me is longing for no thing because it seems most attractive to me.
Of course, yeah.
And it turns everything into something. Everything. It sees everything as something. It can only do that.
Yes.
Only do that.
It longs for nothing, but somehow assumes this to be something again.
Yes.
Which I can have or reach or gain or yeah, absolutely.
It's totally mission impossible. And actually this mission is needed. That's
yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's not very difficult or hard or complex or anything. It's just impossible.
Impossible. No mission.
Well, again?
Never a mission.
Yes, me is an agent on a mission. Seeking for a mystery, overlooking that it's everything.
It's a secret agent.
Yeah, exactly. Me and my life with the secret mission. well, not so secret for many people. Question. So the subject and the object are both a dream. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or one could say the subject creates the object. Yeah, absolutely. They go together. Yeah. The moment I am me, the subject, so to speak, which is actually another object, in a way, the person regards itself as a thing. The moment I'm me, everything else is not me. The moment I am something in particular, everything else, the rest is separate from me. Everything else, our objects, is an object outside, made out of many other objects. Exactly. So the moment you have one, you have two. And many more, very quickly. That's the creation of the illusion of a world. I'm real. There is something out there which is real, and then becoming aware of parts. Yes, there is no subject, and automatically there aren't objects. Or when the subject turns out to be non-existent, this whole subject-object reality turns out to be non-existent, to have never existed.
Andreas?
Yeah.
So this is awareness, no? The subject object. Let's create the awareness.
One could say so. The subject seems to be, that's how it is experienced, a sense of presence, some kind of self-awareness, some kind of experiencing, some kind of self-knowing, not intellectually, but yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. And it lives in separation. And that means to live in awareness, to live in attention, to live in focus, to live in consciousness. It's only aware of. That's the assumed separation. Yeah, one could say awareness is the tool to be separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, within the dream, somebody can be like very much unaware, or can be very aware, and like have more awareness, and therefore, I don't know, like.
Which would just be what apparently happened. Yeah. It's not really more awareness, but it's just what apparently happens. Some people are more careful than others, or more attentive, which is just like a kind of a capability that the body seems to have. Like some people can think faster than others, some people can run faster than others. So some people seem to are more attentive than others, which is just neutrally what apparently happens.
Yeah, but it seems like in the story, like once you get to be more aware, like you become to be more relaxed and more tolerant and all that stuff, you know, like it could be. It's all these stories. I mean, it's good and bad, isn't it?
Exactly.
Going back to good and bad, like I'm more tolerant, therefore I'm better, and I'm getting somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's the story.
So one could be totally ignorant, and that's fine too.
Again?
Somebody could be like totally ignorant about whatever, and that's fine too. It's not better or good or bad.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it would be what it would be what it is. But, yeah, of course.
It's such a game anyway. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I understand, question, I understand there is no subject and there is no separation, but how is it non-existent? Oh, in the end, that cannot be answered, but one has to say it the other way around. The only thing that experiences existence is the subject. Nothing else has an experience of existing. One could say everything else just is existing, apparently, because it's real and unreal. Everything just is itself, but the only thing which knows I am existent and has an experience of existence is the subject. So if the subject turns out to be illusory, automatically every experience of existence becomes illusory, because it was all projected anyway from this sense of I'm existing. Nothing else has that. And the rest, so to speak, is theory to talk about existence as such. It's theory. But the only thing which practically has an experience of existence is the me. And in liberation, so to speak, which is a story, it's exactly that which turns out to be non-existent, but not intellectually. It's not a mind trick. It's not a trick off. It's not theoretical. It's not philosophy.
That's actually, Andres, that's the problem that, well, it's not a problem, but I keep coming back to that as well, is like I heard Jim Newman say that something else recognizes or hears this message. And so I, then I beg to ask the question or whatever. It just keeps saying like, well, why can't that same, something or whatever that hears this message, why can't it also see that maybe there is something happening? Maybe there is, maybe there was a big bang and dinosaurs were around. And it just feels like to me that all of this stuff is really actually happening, but the mind creates this super attached and sort of self-centered person and kind of lives from that perspective. But so that's the thing, is I don't understand where the whole story of it being completely unreal, that's the part that I don't really see that, I can see I can agree with everything else. I just don't agree where like at the when you get down to the brass tacks of it, I don't understand why it's not real ultimately, is what a lot of the message seems to point to.
I mean, as I said, in the end, one could say everything is real and unreal. I wouldn't say that everything is only unreal, actually. But on the other hand, this is already kind of within the story, because as I said, the only thing which could make any statement and believe it to be true would be the subject. But the thing is, if this subject turns out to be non-existent, but not intellectually, then there just is no sense of existence left. And if there were dinosaurs or not, there isn't even anyone there being able to process this question. There is no answer to that. It's not really saying, no, there are no dinosaurs.
Yeah.
There just is no answer, because the whole question already points to a question of existence. Were there dinosaurs or not? Yeah, but within which reality? Within which realm? What are you referring to already?
Right.
That's how it's meant when it's said there is no reality and there are no dinosaurs. There weren't things as dinosaurs, but no one knows that. In the end, this whole question about existence or non-existence cannot be answered. Because that's the thing, in order to get a real answer, this must come out of existence in order to be real.
Right.
But that's not intellectual. Intellectually, this can't be answered. Intellectually, oh yeah, of course, there might have been dinosaurs and the Big Bang. And oh yeah, of course, why not? It's thinkable, so it's theoretically possible. Oh, of course. But in the end, it's unknowable. But also not as another thing that can be known. The person believes itself to be able to know that I don't know, of course, but this would be another personal standpoint within that assumed reality.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with just, it just seems, it's like the most magnificent dream of all times, and it's just like, wow, like how could it not, you know? But yeah, it just, once I try to conceptualize it, it just goes haywire, and there's no.
That's the
I
thing.
usually just right.
That's the thing. In the end, this message, it's not intellectual at all. I mean, we talk about like that, and there seems to be some kind of logic in it. But it just, in the end, this isn't intellectual at all.
Right.
It just isn't. Not because it would be right or good or bad or anything. It just isn't. Sitting in front of a screen and being you and being me isn't intellectual, so to speak.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. That's the thing. A lot of those a lot of what we speak about look like concepts, and they seem to be logical for the person until a certain point. And then suddenly the person's experience contradicts the theory, so to speak, contradicts the concepts that it made. It's stuff like that. The person thinks, yeah, all is wholeness, that's lovely, that's wonderful. But when it comes to real deep suffering, I can't accept that anymore. So, and that's how the person lives until a certain point. It all seems to make sense within its experience, on a conceptual level, on an emotional level, even maybe it feels good, it feels happy enough that, yeah, well, it could actually be it could really be wholeness because I'm actually feeling quite happy often enough, might be. But there's always some point in its experience where it says, no, but this doesn't fit anymore to my own concepts in the end, to what I think how it is, to my picture of the world, to my experience, to my feeling, to my emotions. At one point, it doesn't seem to fit anymore. But that's just how the person would experience it. That's the contradiction that the person itself creates, not that it created, but with the person, what's the person's experience. Okay, question. Does a dream exist? Not really. That's the thing. It would be part of a dream that there is a dream. Everything just is what it is, which is unknowable. Question. So what I'm seeing does not exist. Yes, one could say so. Yeah, it's not something. These aren't things, including the one which thinks that it sees. The seer and the seen aren't two things, or three things actually. The seer, the seeing, and the seen. See, the moment you have one, you have two, you have three immediately. Me out there and being aware of it. So, yeah, exactly. The seer and what's seen aren't things that are separate. One could also say liberation is the melting of the separation, the melting of the subject-object reality into the unknown. Nothing survives then. There isn't one thing left which survives the melting of those parts, of the many, of the three, of the two. They melt into the unknown. They melt and explode. Oh dear. Question. Okay, last two questions. Culture shock rattles the me. Well, it's just within the personal experience. Shocks. Sorry, I can't. Yeah. Okay, last question. Could you talk about, if possible, the difference between the dream and the story? I don't really know what you mean. Maybe I have an assumption. Well, there is no dream. There isn't a dream. Everything just is itself. But by being so, everything is real and unreal. Nothing is really happening. Everything is real and unreal. But that
Yes.
doesn't, yeah.
No, the question comes because sometimes you or even Tony, they say about the dream, and then other times they say story. Is that the same thing, or is two different things?
Yeah, now I understand. Yeah, when I say in the dream, I mean within the person's reality. Within the dream, the person thinks, I'll be enlightened soon. That will never happen. This idea.
That's the me, the dream of me, or the person.
Yeah, the dream of being a person.
Yeah.
Within that, the idea could arise that I'll be enlightened soon.
And the story?
And one could say, but you know, it's in the story, but to say sitting in front of a screen is what apparently happens, but the information about it is a story. And in the dream of being a person experiencing a Zoom talk, there might come the idea that I'll be liberated soon.
And that's the story.
No, that's a dream. Yeah, all of that is. I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's not the same thing. It's two different things. I don't get it anyway.
Yes. It doesn't matter. It's not real, you know.
Okay. No, neither one is real, of course.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I wonder if, well, okay. Thank you. All right. That's it. The next Zoom talk will be on Monday next week, Monday and Tuesday next week. I won't be able to do any, well, yeah, I said it already. That's it. There is no message. There's nothing to get, nothing to do, nothing to not do. There isn't, yeah, I'm sorry. There isn't anyone. There is no right or wrong way to be. There isn't anyone in the first place. What's left, what apparently happens is everything, and it's naturally and automatically whole and complete. Thank you very much. I wish you a lovely day and a lovely time. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Andreas.
Bye.
Thanks, Andreas.
Time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andreas. Bye.
Have a nice day.
May the force be with you.
Good day. Thanks.
Bye. Goodbye.